Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Poor Boy's Little Homestead. Today, I'm going to give you 3 things you can do to keep your small engines running. And when I'm saying small engines, I'm talking about your lawnmowers, weed eater, chainsaw, boat motor, tiller, generator, anything with a small engine. I ain't talking about your automobiles. Your automobiles, you normally gonna drive them often enough. But the 3 most important things you can do for a small engine to keep your carburetor from getting clogged up, keep it running, is number 1. If it's anywhere in your town that sells non-ethanol gas, that's what you want to put in that small engine. Now, if you're using that small engine like a lawnmower during mowing season, go on and run whatever gas you want to. But before the end of the season, when you know it's going to start getting where you ain't running it as often, cranking it once a week, put you some non-ethanol gas in it. And when it gets to where you know you ain't gonna be cranking it, or you like a tiller, you're gonna use your tiller in the spring, and you know it's gonna set up, put non-ethanol gas in it. Buy you some of this STA-Bil. It tells you how much to put per gallon of gas. That's one thing. Number 2. Well, I ain't through with number 1. If you can't find STA-Bil, get you some Marble Mystery Oil. That's been around for coon ages. Put that in your gasoline for them engines that you're gonna be storing for a while with some non-ethanol gas if at all possible. STA-Bil makes some of this for ethanol gas, and I know it'll help. If there's no way you can get non-ethanol gas, you buy that and you put it in your gas. Number 2, crank your engines, whether you're gonna use them or not. You need to crank them about every 2 weeks. And when you crank them, don't crank it and just crank it and kill it. You crank it and let it run, and you let that engine get the running temperature so it'll get that oil hot before you kill it. When you crank an engine, and this is also on an automobile, when you crank an engine and you just kill it and it don't get the running temperature, that ain't good. So it puts off just enough heat, it'll make a moisture in your gasoline and in your engine and in your oil. It'll make a moisture. So you need to let your engine run long enough or the running temperature. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, if you know you're gonna be storing that motor and you ain't gonna be cranking it every couple of weeks, and you can't crank it every couple of weeks, put that gas in there, like I said, non-ethanol if you can. Put some STA-Bil in it, or some Marble Mystery Oil. Let it run, get lubricated real good, that gas in that engine. And then you turn your gas off. Most everything's got a gas valve, so you can turn the gas off. And you let that engine run until it goes dead on its own. Let it run all that gas out of that carburetor. And if you'll do that, you won't be having so much issues with your carburetors on your small engines. This gas with this ethanol in it builds up moisture real quick. And that's why it's no good unless you put it in there and you run it on a daily basis. It builds up too much moisture in it. Moisture sets up in your carburetor. It's gonna rust. Even if it's a carburetor with a plastic float in it, it's got screws in there that's gonna rust. It's gonna build up moisture. And also, only way I know how to explain this, if you take like a clear coat on a vehicle and you see it peeling off, that's what the inside of that carburetor will do. As soon as a little piece of that peels off, it's gonna stop one of them jets up in there. So if you do them three things, use non-ethanol gas, put STA-Bil or mystery oil in your gas, crank it every 2 weeks, whether you're gonna use it or not. If it's gonna be longer than that, you turn that gas valve off and you crank it and you let it run until it runs out of fuel. Now if you got a boat motor or a chainsaw and it's 2-cycle, the very best thing you can do for it, they sell gas in little bottles, real high octane. Our chainsaws pre-mixed. You mix your gas, try to get non-ethanol. But before you put that chainsaw or that weed eater, that 2-stroke engine up, you pour a little bottle of that in that fuel in there, pour all your old gas out. Just turn your chainsaw upside down, pour it out. Put you some of that in there out of that can, crank it and let it run a little while. But it's still best to crank that chainsaw and weed eater every 2 weeks. If not, my suggestion is pour that gas out, crank it and let it run that gas out of that carburetor until it gets down. Once this non-ethanol gas come out, it's so many people. Ain't no telling how much money is spent on carburetors and people having to take theirs to get their work done because it won't crank, it won't run. But if you'll take them 3 tips I just gave you, and on your boat motors, a lot of your boat motors nowadays is 4-stroke. If you still got the 2-stroke motor, STA-Bil makes this for 2-stroke engines. Put that in your gas, run it. But still, even though you do this, unplug that gas line and run that 2-stroke engine totally out of gas before you pull out of the boat launch with it. It don't take but about a minute to 2 minutes for it to run the gas out of the carburetor, and then every time you want to go, your motor will crank. So guys, I was just putting this in all my engines, and I just thought I'd do a little video, help people out there, because I know a lot of people that's not mechanical. You don't know all that stuff. You can buy this at Walmart, both of them. Walmart, O'Reilly, AutoZone, any auto parts store. 1 bottle. You can do, got a riding lawnmower, push lawnmower, tiller. 1 bottle will do everything you're gonna do that year before you put everything up. And it probably lasts you a couple of years. But anyway guys, I hope this advice helps somebody out there. I know it's so frustrating when you want to go grab your weed eater and that gum thing won't crank, or chainsaw, you pull on it, 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 and won't crank. If you'll do that, it'll stop a lot of your problems. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hope everyone has a great day. God bless.